Everybody, welcome back to the Stats Beats podcast. It's been a while, but I have a special guest host, Stefan Savic, on the other line. Stefan, how are you? You're live.
Are we live? Are we live?
Is this on? Is this on?
First time caller, long time listener.
Oh, welcome to the show. Thank you. What's your question? I love how the radio, when you listen to the radio and they're just like, the hosts are just like struggling. Like they have to take calls and it's just like they're struggling listening to them.
Do people still call in?
I mean, it's big over here in Massachusetts and Boston. They have a whole thing on it. And it's just like half the time they're just absolutely like crapping on them because they're extremely mean to everybody over here. It's nothing like KNBR where they're like super nice hosts. You know what I mean? Like super positive. Over here, everything's the end of the world.
See, I've never heard that about the Northeast.
Yeah, right.
The rest of the country, the reputation is that they're super laid back, like surfers.
Yeah. On that, let's start off talking about the New England. Let's start off with Cam getting cut. That was a shock because I actually the day before I made a podcast, I was like, "Hey, man, it was pretty clear, Cam was the starter, and Bill had him as a starter, and I don't know why everybody's like arguing about this and that, and literally like the day I set that up, and it's like, hey, Cam's out. I was like, out as a starter? No, he just got straight up cut. I was like, holy smokes.
I don't think they were too happy with that COVID thing, and honestly, as great as Cam's resume is and everything else, if you completely divorce yourself from who Cam Newton is and what his history is, and you just go off of what he did last year.
He's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well let your first-round pick play. What's the point? And they weren't on the hook financially for a lot of money with his contract either. Most of it was incentive-based. So it actually made the decision a lot easier if you look at it that way. If you look at him as Cam Newton, former MVP,
Like, what are they doing starting a rookie over him? Well, he threw 9 touchdowns for 7 picks. I think the last weekend, it was bad.
He was terrible last year. Yeah. I mean, if you take away those rushing touchdowns in the red zone, he was dog shit.
And like by all reports, Mac was playing just as good as he was. But the problem was Mac is a friggin' rookie. And it's if he's playing at the same
Cam
level.
Did the cherry on top, too, by screwing up the COVID thing. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but it was clear the team was pissed off about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty obvious. I mean, look what happened, like, literally a couple days after that. They're like, see you later, dude. We're done with it. But they don't say it. The Patriots are really good.
He was starting that game.
Yeah. Yeah, so he must have did something. He must have, like, pushed it or he did something like pushed it over the edge. But
it was probably his outfits.
His outfits? There you go.
I mean, subjectively, I think I'd cut him just for those.
Yeah.
But...
Okay. So good luck to the Patriots and Mac Jones. I think they're a 9-10 win team as they are right now with all the free agents they signed.
I think they're just as competitive as they would have been with Cam because I feel like early on, he might struggle more than Cam, but he's obviously got a higher ceiling. Cam's on his way down in his career, so I think it's the right move. There might be some growing pains where, people are calling for Belichick and Mac Jones' head here in a few weeks, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's going to be the end of the world, the first bad game he has, and they're going to be like, "Oh, look what they did! They shouldn't have cut him." But it's like they're hypercritical of every little thing they do over here with the team, like hypercritical. It's much different than the 49ers where 49er fans kind of put up with so much until they can't take it anymore. I
don't know. Do you remember like everyone was calling for Alex Smith's head?
Yeah, but he was on the team for a long time.
Kaepernick's head after that. So I don't know. I think it's just the problem with being an NFL quarterback is like even if you're Aaron Rodgers, fans will still bash on you. It's like they all want everyone to throw 50 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and be an MVP every year, and it's like there's just not that many guys that can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Let's jump into the actually talk about the 49ers. Let's jump into their 53-man roster. Those who made it, those who got cut. You know what? I think the biggest surprise for me who made the team is Jalen Hurd. I mean,
he did, yeah, it's still like purely theoretical. I mean, he finally was healthy for one preseason game, caught some short passes. I mean, he didn't show a whole lot. He had a couple drops. But I think the thing is, we're also talking about our sixth receiver. Yeah. So I think you probably at that point give the person that might develop a shot over somebody like Travis Benjamin, who you already know what you're getting all the way and everything like that. So I don't have a problem with keeping him, especially with the depth ahead of him.
He's a beast if he stays healthy. I mean, we've seen it. You know what I mean? He's just a great asset, but that's just a huge if.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think where it made it easier was Sherfield coming in and lighting it up through the preseason and then the practices and everything. I mean, the guy, he looks like our legit number 3. He's got game-breaking speed. He caught that 80-yarder from Trey Lance. And then you add Sanu in there as a veteran that can catch. Jawan Jennings, who's a big body that breaks, in college at least, was one of the top broken tackle, I don't know how you would say it properly, broken tackle
run after contact.
Nation. I think he was like number 2 in percentage or something like
yards
that.
After contact or something like that.
Yeah, so he can run after the catch, and just like Hurd can run after the catch, being a former running back and everything else. So I think I like our depth the way it shakes out, because really at Jennings and Hurd, you're talking about 5 and 6. And in a perfect world, if everyone stays healthy, those guys are barely going to see the field.
Yeah, that's true. Moving on to the quarterbacks, there's been some talk about Jimmy G and Trey kind of splitting reps during the regular season. I don't like that at all. I think we should. I mean, maybe once in a while on a third down or something. I just let's just stick with one quarterback and write it out. They don't even have a third quarterback. It's just, I don't know. I never like how it turns out.
I think it could be like the Saints did it, where a couple plays in the red zone here or there, or this or that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
But I don't see, nobody's rotating quarterbacks. That never works even at the high school or college level, let alone the pros. You're not going to put in a quarterback for a series and another one. I mean, I think the last pro team to do that was maybe the Steelers with O'Donnell and Cordell Stewart.
I don't know why he's saying it, just smooth over egos or something, but I really think Jimmy should just start, and then it should be his job to lose. And Trey Lance maybe coming on some third downs and short yard gains, because good luck the other team trying to stop him on a third and short. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. I love Trey Lance, but he's not quite ready. I mean,
no,
the preseason you saw, he's still throwing balls too hard and bouncing them high off. I mean, he'll get a ton of picks if he keeps throwing those fastballs.
He's got to chill
high on guys. They're just getting volleyballed into the secondary at that point. So but man, he shows some physical skills that look great.
He has a cannon, man.
And more importantly, I see him making multiple reads and going through progressions. It's just, he's still not quite there. I don't think he gives them the best chance. And I think as soon as he does, put him in. But I think this rush, just because of his draft position, to play him immediately, I just don't understand why everyone always wants to throw that in, and they're always like, well, we've got to get him experience. You look at a lot of the great quarterbacks that have come out over the last few years, a lot of them did actually sit for a little bit. I think some guys have been ruined, but I don't know. It's a different game than it used to be. You still see rookies producing. I mean, you look at San Diego, and they got a gem there. So it just depends on who they are and how much ready they are. But from what I saw in Lance in the preseason, he needs to work on his touch a little bit, and some of his other things.
Yeah. Now what I like here, I like the running back / fullback roster that they got. Raheem Mostert, Trey Sermon, JaMycal Hasty, Elijah Mitchell, and of course Kyle Juszczyk. I say Juice, but
Juszczyk.
Like that's an awesome running backfield right there. I like it.
I think you forgot JaMycal Hasty too.
Oh yeah,
right?
JaMycal Hasty. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. But my only question is when Jeff Wilson Jr. gets better, I think he's going to push Hasty out probably because I think Mitchell they're going to use as a kick returner because they used a bunch of kick returners in preseason, but I think he's the only person left on the roster that's returned a kick.
Yeah, they don't actually have any like kick returners on the team right now at all.
And that's been their problem for years now, and it's not because Lynch hasn't tried to draft him. I mean, you look at he went through what was Trent's last name? The little guy. He's like 5'8". He was always injured.
Sherfield?
Slot receiver. What's that?
Sherfield?
No, the little guy. He was like 5'8". He was on the team for like 3 years.
Was he? What did he originally play for the Rams or KC or something?
No, they drafted him as like a punt returner slot receiver. He did good his rookie year and then was injured 2 years in a row.
Sure, I can't remember his name.
Totally blanking on his name. But they've tried to draft him. They tried Dante Pettis. They've tried a bunch of guys that could return punts, and they just have not been able to get a decent kick returner on the team.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I hope they find somebody because that's a really important job, especially punts and kick returns, because you better know how to catch that damn ball.
Hey, I ever since the game against the Saints in the playoffs where we muffed that punt, you know. Yeah. I don't know. Special teams are more important than I think a lot of coaches and personnel guys seem to give credit for.
Who do you think is going to get the most carries on the team for the backs, Raheem or Trey?
Oh, it'll be Mostert if he stays healthy.
God, I hope he does.
I think Trey Sermon will get quite a bit, and then I don't know. They always have it by committee, and you never know. But Mostert is just ridiculously good and fast in that system. I mean, he's perfect for it. He's that one cut back that they look for, where he makes one cut and then he's gone.
Yeah. Now on to the receivers, where I think the first starting two receivers are just. I think they're the top, like if not like the top five, like two receivers. You know what I mean? Like as a set for a team in the league, and that's Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel.
I mean, this will be the year to prove it.
Yeah.
You know,
Debo's got to stay healthy,
and Ayuk being in his second year.
So does Brandon too, though. They both got to stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, neither of them both of them have injury concerns, but man, when they're healthy, both of them can run after the catch. Deebo especially can run after the catch. The guy's a little bowling ball. It's almost impossible to take him down on that first tackle.
Yeah.
So if they can stay healthy, and I don't know, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. If Jimmy comes out and runs that offense with those receivers and the weapons they have, that offense looks pretty dangerous, but it's all going to be how it all comes out. If he's not pushing the ball down the field and dinking and dunking and going 3 and out all the time, it's not going to matter. So I think it's make or break for him and everyone else. You know, best case scenario, he balls out and they trade him for some of those first round picks they gave away.
Yeah.
And worst case, he's worth about what he's worth now, which is, I don't know. I don't even know what someone would trade for him right now. Yeah. Probably like a 4th round pick, 3rd round pick.
Yeah, that's true. Tight ends, George Kittle, Ross Dwelley, and Charlie Warner. I think that's a solid tight end package right there. Obviously, George Kittle being like arguably the best tight end in the game.
Yeah, he's got to stay healthy. Hopefully, it's hard though the way he plays. He's probably going to miss a game or two. And Dwelley's proven that he can produce. He's definitely can catch, and he's gotten pretty good at blocking. So I like him as a second tight end. We
got the offensive lineman, of course. The a lot of experience at center now. Alex Mack, and then you got Daniel Brunskill, Aaron Banks, Tom Compton, Mike McGlinchey, Trent Williams, Laken Tomlinson, and Jalen Moore. Didn't Mike and Laken play at Notre Dame together? Is that what it was?
That seems like they're too far apart in age.
Or they played at the same school. I mean, they both played for Notre Dame, I think. Something like that.
Oh, yeah, that might have been right. Yeah.
Something like that. But I think they got a strong offensive line.
It works better than last year for sure. I would have liked. I would have liked to see Aaron Banks do better this preseason. I really thought, like, his footwork would have been better. I mean, he looked. I know he was in a different scheme in college, but he looked like he had quicker feet and better at getting into position than he showed in the preseason. So,
well, I'll go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think they're still good. It's just that fifth round swing tackle kind of outperformed them. In the preseason. And when Banks was like a second round pick, you kind of expect more out of him. So hopefully he kind of gets it together. But I still like him. I think adding Mack as the center is huge. I mean, the center is the quarterback of the O-line. He's calling all those protections, and he's one of the best. Yeah. So I think that alone raises the level of the entire offensive line's play by far.
And going into defense, you can see how the 49ers are really focusing on the defense here. They're keeping 11 defensive linemen on the team. They're looking to bring as much pressure as possible at all times during the game. They got D Ford, Samson, Ibukam, Kevin Givens, Eric Armstead, Zach Kerr, DJ Jones, Contevia Street, Maurice Hurst, Nick Bosa, Arden Key, and Javon Kinlaw. They're going to rotate them, and they're going to beat the crap out of the team in front of them, if you ask me. They're going to cause a lot of problems. If everybody's healthy, of course.
It's their strength. It's their strength. It always has been, and they lean into it. And that's what makes it okay that we have just a razor-thin depth in our secondary.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. Linebackers, decent depth here. Got 5 of them. Fred Warner, Drake Greenlaw, Aziz Al-Sharir, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, and Marcel Harris. And then jumping into the cornerbacks, Verrett, Emmanuel Mosley, Quan Williams, Demore Lenore, Ambry Thomas, Devontae Harris. Safeties, Jimmy Ward, Jakizi Tart, and the big name I think that made the team, Talona Hafunga. Then Tavon Wilson. He just played his butt off and earned himself a spot. I like watching him play.
Quentin Dix. So.
Yeah, yep, that's right. That's a former first rounder right there. He beat out just by playing out of his mind. I loved it.
Yeah, the Niners' fifth-round picks this year look great for fifth-round picks. I mean, I don't know. They might have hit something. That's where they hit Kittle, and you look at Jalen Moore is clearly going to make the team as a swing tackle.
Yep.
Hafunga was fifth round, and he looks like. I mean, he not only can easily, like I originally thought, would be a great gunner, but he actually looks like he could be a great safety, too. So having him for depth when Tart and Ward combined, I don't think have had a full season in a while.
Yep.
I think that bodes well for the safety position, which really leads us to the cornerback, where I like Lenore looks great out of Oregon. I mean, Ambry Thomas was drafted ahead of him, and he doesn't look nearly as ready, and it might be because he had a whole year off coming from Michigan. But they look a lot better in secondary depth. It kind of sucks when your two top depth people are rookies as corners, because even, Charles Woodson and great cornerbacks don't necessarily have great rookie seasons. Yeah. So it just hurts if somebody goes down like Mosley or Verrett. It could be tough. But then again, if the D-line stays healthy and they're able to put the kind of pressure that they can put on, I don't think it matters as much who your cornerback is, because when you only have less than 3 seconds to throw the ball, most guys can cover for that long.
Yeah. We'll wrap that up. Any other last comments on the 49ers roster?
Looks pretty good this year. I mean, we'll see how it all shakes out, but the Niners have a really soft schedule, so I'm hoping to see them dominate early.
Let's go, boys. Let's stay healthy this year.
Gosh, it can only be better than last year.
Yeah, that was a mess. You wanted to jump into some college sports here. Ohio State's Buckeyes quarterback Quinn Ewers, he signed a deal for $1.4 million. Sponsorship deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it'd be interesting to comment on. I think that's the first major deal that's gone down since the change in rules with the NCAA. And just kind of your thoughts on a kid coming straight out of high school and getting all that money
Good.
just for autographs. I mean,
Good.
I think it's
Get it.
good. It's just
It's a lot.
It seems like a lot, but then again, I think it speaks to how much money these kids are pulling into these universities.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody's willing to give them that much, it goes to show no company spends that kind of money without a return on investment. So it just goes to show how much a guy like that is generating for a school like Ohio State, I think.
He was originally actually signed to play with Texas. And then what happened? Texas was like, yeah, we're not going to allow you to sign that. I guess high schoolers aren't allowed to sign those deals or something. There's 3 states. Texas is one of them. Then he's like, all right, later, I'm going to Ohio State. And he's like, bam.
Well, that really backfired on Texas.
That's what I said. I was like, idiot.
It's not like they've been relevant since Vince Young played there, and you know they had that run there where Ricky Williams and then Vince Young, and then I mean Colt McCoy kind of put them on the map for maybe half a year.
Yeah,
and I don't know, bad move on Texas. But.
I know, man, but I mean it's a lot, but you know maybe it's the market like trying to adjust to what their actual value is because they haven't been paid anything. So
some of these kids are going to get paid and never do anything, which will be interesting to see how that rolls out. But
I'm sure there's a lot of like asterisks on this contract too. Like if you don't start, if you don't do this, if you drop out, then you don't make any of this.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of variables with that. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out over the years.
Yeah. But, it's not only for football. You have to think about, that girl, where I can't remember where her parents from, but she won the gold medal in the overall, the Asian girl from Minnesota. I don't think she's Laotian. I think she's something else, but did you see, I'm talking about? She won the overall, she won the gold. She's going to like Auburn or something. She's a gymnast.
Yeah, I only watch the Olympics in the year that
yeah,
they're supposed to be in.
I know. So, but anyways,
it says 2020 on everything.
Yeah, right.
2021. It makes me super confused. So.
That's all right. No, but what I'm just trying to say
is, I had a busy summer. I haven't paid much attention to the Olympics, to be honest.
No, but I mean, she won the gold. She got super popular. Now she gets to cash in on that. While she's being working, as a gymnast at Auburn, she's going to make huge like that, and that
she
that
should be able to.
That was never like available to her.
If you're a computer science major and you start an app, you don't necessarily have to quit school. So
yeah, it's the same thing with like the younger college students who are on the swim team or track and field team. They're going to get big, contracts too, and like it's like good for them, more power to them. So there you go.
Well, yeah, I'm more concerned with the inequity of, clearly schools with good exposure are going to have a huge recruiting advantage over schools that don't.
Yeah.
And it seems like you'll end up building these gigantic powerhouses that, dwarf other ones in terms of exposure and the amount of kids that are getting contracts and all that. But I guess that's not much different than it is now.
Yep.
So...
Yep.
Money drives it all.
Yeah. All right, man. You got anything else?
No. I mean, we're getting pretty close to the opening of the NFL season.
I'm excited,
so
man.
It should be interesting with 17 games. What are your thoughts on an extra game?
Terrible.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think it's a complete slap in the face to player safety and everything else.
It's too much
And
risk.
On top of it, how the hell am I supposed to reconcile someone running for 2,000 yards now? Or throwing for 5,000? I got to do math? What? No. I'm sorry, but, this is not what I signed up for. I can barely count by 7. This is just too much.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, that's... Each game is just a total punishment on the body, and when you put it at the end of the season where everybody's kind of on the brink already, I don't think it's a good idea at all.
No, well, I remember just my experience. Like high school is like a lot of games at 10, and then I remember in college my roommates playing 12 or 13, and then it's like, and then you're talking 16. Was a big stretch up to that. And if you made the playoffs, even more. And now we're at 17. 17 is a grind, and there's going to be people getting injured and all this other stuff. And for what? I mean, it didn't make any difference in terms of like placement. There's going to be more meaningless games. It's like baseball and basketball. I like baseball and basketball, but at 162 and 82 or whatever games, or 164, what? Why will I care about 1 out of 160 games or 1 out of 80 games?
Yeah.
You know, and it's getting that way with football. At 1 out of 17, I mean, 1 out of 16 was skating the line where they all mattered. And even then, you'd get some teams where the last 4 weeks were meaningless. Now we're going to have teams where it's like the last 6 weeks of their season are meaningless. And it's like, how am I supposed to bet on that? That's why I don't like betting on the NBA, because they can afford to not show up on a Saturday night.
It's a tough bet.
Still make the playoffs, and that's what's happening with football.
I'd have a lot better luck betting the college basketball games rather than the pros, just because
they just won't play some nights.
Yeah,
because it doesn't matter, and that's the problem. If you have so many games that it doesn't matter, then I don't know. But once again, it's driven by money. These billionaire owners needed a few extra million, so here we are.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah. I'll try to stay by the phone for the next contest.
Sounds good. All right. Later.